Introducing the Citrus Twist Turnabout stamp set. This one is going to give you all these summer vibes with all of these fun citrus images. I had a lot of fun pulling out all the fun bright colors to create the background, but you also have sentiments that are going to go with this. So around your turnabout, we have all of these fun little label type of sentiments. And so when you stamp it out, it's going to give you a dark background. I happen to do black ink with them, but you could use any colored ink depending on maybe your card that you could match these up. And you can build up different sentiments. Here are the ones that I came up with. We have Hey There Cutie. You could also just do Hey There. Then there's You're Pretty Great and Hope Your Day is the Zest. But you can mix and match and have some fun with these sentiments. And there's also a couple of smaller images here to maybe fill in your background or create your own background outside of the turnabout. Then as usual, because Concord and Ninth is so great, they provided the step outs on the back of the packaging. So it shows you what it looks like stepped out 1, 2, 3 times and all 4 times. You can do them in a variety of colors or do it all in one color. So I have a few different examples of the background. And like I said, I was having a lot of fun with these fun citrusy colors. It's giving you these slices, kind of if you were to cut down the middle, and then also the whole piece there. And then here is those decorative elements that is built into the turnabout stamp. But that's what those individual stamp images are these little pieces here. So for this particular one, I believed I used creamsicle because I absolutely love that color. Watermelon is another one of my favorites. And then for these colors, I believe I did lemongrass and then maybe honeycomb. So you can really have fun just mix and matching your colors. This is a panel I created stamped in all one color, so it makes a really great background. Now this one happens to be more of a stronger color, but if you did it in maybe nectar, it gives more of a subtle feel to your background. I think this one may be the lemongrass because I really liked that bright pop. It's got a lot of yellow in it. So this is a panel I created using colored cardstock and the same color of ink. So this happens to be watermelon, and I did it all the same. So very monochromatic, again, makes for a really great subtle background. Oh, and just to point out, there is no coordinating die to die cut out your sentiments, but it's very easy to trim these out just using your scissors or a paper trimmer. So when you get your turnabout, you're going to have the stamp set, but you're also going to have the guide. And this is what's going to help you line up your turnabout so you get perfect placement each turn. So I went ahead and loaded my turnabout in my Misty stamping tool, and I have my turnabout jig here. And it's always a good practice to start with the number 1 up in the top right-hand corner. And I'm going to be creating it in this vertical orientation, but with the jig, you do have the landscape orientation as well. The first color I'm going to use is a buttercup. So I'll always make sure that my jig is tucked into that bottom right-hand corner. Stamp that down. And there is the first turn for my turnabout. Now, if you find that you are getting bubbles or extra ink, just make sure you don't have any air bubbles in this empty space on your stamp set. If you do, you can just peel up your stamp set to let that air out. Because when you have air trapped under there, it's going to push the stamp up, which means it's going to catch the ink. So I cleaned my stamp set, made sure it's dry, and I'm going to turn my jig so I have the number 2 over here. Then I'm going to ink it up with Sprout. It's already looking super fun and citrusy, even with just these 2 colors. Cleaned my stamp set once again, and now I'm going to turn it to the number 3 for my third turn. This time I'm going to use Nectar. Now for this one, I stamped it twice, which is going to make this color kind of pop a little bit more. It's not going to be as subtle. Again, I cleaned and dried my stamp, turned it, so now I'm in the 4th turn, which I will ink up with Pink Lemonade. This one I again stamped twice, so it's going to make that pop just a little bit more. And then to remove it from our jig, we just kind of fold that together so our cardstock starts to pop off. Mine is pretty sticky because it's fairly new, but still pops off really easy. And now I have a really fun citrusy background ready to use. So this is one of the cards that I created using that background turnabout, and this is using the same colors, but I only stamped those once. So this is that nectar ink stamped once. On the one I just did, I did it twice, so you can see the comparison where I can in the video of where this one is just a little bit darker. Now I also added some elements on here, so you'll notice that the images from the turnabout are large or smaller versions from the citrus crush die set. So we have this piece here, which is this, and then we have some slices. So you're just going to see how everything coordinates so well together. Now I also had done those label sentiments that I trimmed out with my paper trimmer and added to kind of frame those citrus pieces. And the background, when I did that turnabout, I had started out with a full panel, and then to get that perfect slant here at the bottom, I used the slanted shortcuts die. So that die set comes in really handy to make these backgrounds. And for this, I added a sprout card base. So that measures 4¼ by 5½. Another panel I created is using that monochromatic look. So I have, I believe it's watermelon cardstock with the watermelon ink. But when I was doing it, these darker ones I stamped about 2 or 3 times with watermelon ink, and these lighter ones I stamped once. So check out how you can get different color variations just depending how many times you stamp it. And then I simply added a sentiment, the thanks, 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 in different fun citrusy colors. And that is also off of the Citrus Crush stamp and die set. This is a card that I had created for my large water mug here where I did a subtle background. So that was stamped in nectar ink. So it didn't take away from the cup, but added a little bit of interest and tied in with this because I added some smaller citrus pieces down at the bottom. And that is a closer look at the Citrus Twist Turnabout stamp set.